Welcome back. It's VFX and Chill. I'm Seth. That's Hashi. That's Michael. This week, we are going to talk about the creator, Gareth Edwards himself. Hashi, Michael, I thought this man had gone silent since Rogue One. I worried he was out of the game because of the stupid crap that happened in all the trades about the reshoots, as if that on Rogue One, as if that were something that didn't happen on normal movies all the time. And yet, this week, hope was presented to us from the creator. We're talking,
of course, creator himself.
We're talking about
hope.
Gareth.
Wait.
What?
A new hope?
Okay. Bye. You are in timeout. So, just kidding. I can't have you go away.
So, Seth,
yes.
Have you ever wished that there were a cool movie about, like, set in, like, the future when, like, AI has become sentient and nuclear bombs some cities, and then, like, the resistance of the remaining humans, like, have to fight robots the rest of it?
Yes.
Because if so,
always. And look, I'm never going to watch The Terminator. It's probably not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for.
Like, ignoring, anything made before 96.
I actually can't let that go on the record. I love The Terminator. Both 1 and 2. The first one is a friggin' horror movie. It's great. Okay. Backing up, though.
But have you ever wished that the person who directed the movie about how the Death Star plans got from point A to B?
Very specific wishes and prayers you've made.
I don't know. I have really specific wishes about things. But either way,
I have very specific needs.
You know what's really cool, Seth, is when
a different version of Taken.
Savvy.
I have a very specific set of needs, and like the kidnapper on the other end of the phone is like, it's the call on Taken takes a totally different tone. Sorry, out of my head and into yours. What?
I love it, but
I love you.
Ain't it great when people who are visual effects fluent get to make movies?
Oh God, it certainly is.
I think it's cool. Like, I mean, can you imagine if you were a creator in their mid-30s doing practically all the visual effects on your own movie about monsters?
I can imagine this.
I'm speaking, of course, of...
Oh God. Speaking of Monsters, the film from Gareth Edwards. What's funny is I was telling my wife, she's like, what are you doing on the show today? And I said, it's a new movie that came out this week from a director we really love, a guy named Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue One, he did Godzilla, and he did that movie Monsters that he shot, like him and Scoot McNairy, and I forget the actress's name, and like a producer and an audio guy, and they just walked around some South American city, or Mexico. I can't remember where they shot it, but they walked around and just shot this thing on the fly, like run and gun. And then he did all these visual effects himself. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that one exactly." Like, yeah, because it was a big thing. It was such a memorable thing. The guy went and did what we did and succeeded.
That's crazy. So Seth, so you're on track. You're on track in terms of
everything about my life is on track right now. Everything. And
I always say this about you.
Yeah. So first off, Michael, you've been traveling the globe. How you doing?
I've been doing great. I was in Germany last week, and it was a lovely time. Got to eat European food, which I love, and got to chat with people from all over the world. German food and Italian food, because everything's all close together right there. So it was nice. I like the food. I like the people. It was a good time.
Oh, I love it.
So
Michael is speaking of. I believe that you addressed it on the show last week, Seth. But Maxon has their annual. What do we call it? The global summit.
The global summit. It sounds so ominous. I don't know why we call it the summit. It was all company meeting.
If you go to anything that has global in the title, you're up to something.
It's true. Yeah.
But that's wonderful. It's where we get to talk about all the cool things we want to do for the people like you who come to watch our show, and with the people who could actually probably get it done.
There was a really good main morning session where everyone in the company was there, and Paul, who's the head of marketing, was gave a very impassioned speech about how we need to put our artists first and stuff like that. That was really good. That was a big focus of the whole summit, was how to make better tools for artists to use.
I love that. Paul
It was all about community.
Executive producer of this show.
Exactly.
Executive producer.
The main thing Paul Babb is known for.
Yes, executive producer of VFX and Chill.
But I mean, he's making a good point. It's the whole reason why Maxon has the success that they've had, is that they've had a big focus on community and building up and lifting up the artists that use these tools. And I think it's always good to remind everyone in the company why they are making the tools. Like the engineers in their little engineer, basements or wherever they code. Like, it's nice for them to get a reminder that the stuff that they're using is, like, they're building the paintbrushes that artists are using to create amazing work. And so it's nice to kind of remind them of the stuff. We also got some presentations from people who have used the tools to produce some amazing work. So it was just kind of all around a lot of good planning for future tools coming out. A lot of good planning, really good kind of inspiration for creativity, and it's all around a good time. I left excited, and also left with knowledge of the sale coming out, which is exciting. So if you didn't catch the ad at the beginning, Maxon is doing a big sale starting soon. Information is linked in the chat. But there's a big 40-30 thing going on, where it's 40%. It's going to be 40% off any new subscriptions to Maxon One, and 30% off any new subscriptions to any of the single tools. So, like, if you're like, hey, I'd really like to get on the newest particular, or the new Magic Bullet Looks, which is amazing, now's your chance. If you've not subscribed yet, jump on it. Or if you need more licenses, jump on it. Sale's coming soon. Soon.
Jump on it.
Look at that. I feel like, people are asking us all the time, when's your next sale? Then.
Oh yeah, now, finally, almost, in a couple days, soon, finally, a sale. Like, we haven't had
super
a sale
clear
forever.
answer. Absolutely, as many adjectives.
So that promo, I would imagine you probably had a lot of time to put that together, Seth. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to know if it's going to be if that's live somewhere, because I miss those kind of promos for stuff. I miss the character Red Giant's Seth Worley.
Yeah, I had to
presenting me with information.
I had to open up had to pull him out of the closet, dust him off, and
it looked good.
He did just fine. Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's all I got. He also relies heavily on a script to do anything. So he's not. That's why this sentence is going the way that it's going. Speaking of the way that it's going, how about a segue into talking about the Creator?
The Creator.
God. So
we're gathered here today.
We gather here today to talk about Gareth Edwards. Long live the man. This trailer rules, and I'm just going to skim around because I don't want to get flagged by 20th Century Studios. This is like... Okay, I do want to point out, before anything, this is a movie where they explicitly, in the voiceover, in this trailer, they're like, AI is the bad guy. AI has killed everyone, and AI, we're going to stop AI, which is great and super topical and hilarious that it's topical, especially considering this is a movie that looks like you've been working on it for years. Not only that, at the same time, it looks like a Wonder Dynamics ad, which it makes me so happy. It's just it works together.
Wonder Dynamics shots. Where are they? Here we are.
Any of those,
yeah.
And any of these with like the machine heads.
Yeah. Where he turns. Oh, come on! I just want that shot where he turns his head.
Oh yeah, I forget the actor's name. He's awesome from Godzilla and Dark Knight or Batman Begins. There we are.
Yeah, that looks like a Wonder Dynamics thing. It so does.
So we figured we'd mess around with some stuff that's in this trailer, right?
I should say, for those who are unfamiliar, Wonder Dynamics is an AI-driven visual effects project that takes and people have been taking. It takes your footage. We should just upload a clip from this trailer into Wonder Dynamics. Puts a robot into the shot.
Yeah. It basically...
these ones.
This looks like a Wonder Dynamics clip.
Well, yeah. Wait, let me see if I can pull up. Like that's a good example. I'm going to pull up Aaron Rabinowitz's Twitter.
Yeah, the one where he pulled the Marta stunt footage. Our pal Marta Svitek, who did a bunch of stunt footage and stuff for us during her tenure here.
Wonder Dynamics.
She's amazing, and I miss her.
I love.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I love trailer cutting to where a robot can kick another robot in the face and blow up the world.
Well, I'm not sharing my screen here. I'll share my screen.
I like that actress. I don't know who she is. All right, yeah.
So yeah. So if you haven't been watching our
100
show or the web in general, right here, this is what Wonder Dynamics does. This is AI replacing characters with robots, and like going back and forth between that boxing shot and something like this. I'm like, can you imagine if you were a VFX artist there being like, man, we had to do all this crazy live tracking on the set work to do this stuff, and then our movie is going to be released at the same time that this company drops the drag and drop VFX studio.
I mean, so my friend Meg Stacy, who was the DP on my film, texted me and said, what's the VFX community take on all this, runway AI stuff? And I texted her back and said, super exciting. Like, since, the future of AI isn't AI replacing a human, it's a human using AI replacing a human not using AI. I think it's rapidly moving toward the advent of some very cool and needed new tools that will all be released the second our movie is done and not a minute sooner. And so I have to imagine how it feels to be a VFX artist on the Creator, seeing all the Wonder Dynamics spots coming out.
It is really, really great.
But I mean, the thing is, if you just take and sit there and look at a Wonder Dynamics shot over and over, you start to notice the problems that it has that would then need to get fixed. And then you're like, well, you're kind of back at square one in some parts, because like there's so much little fixing you still have to do on top of it to make it like the level that you need for a feature film.
Totally.
Like the background replacement is a little swimmy sometimes, and the shadows and reflections aren't right. There's just different like look at this shot, for example. Like the reflection on the floor of the robot's leg is still Christopher Walken's leg.
Totally.
You still have to do that.
But I mean, at the very least, it's still a really, really reliable mocap.
I'm excited about AI
source.
doing depth scanning, like pulling depth information and doing rotoscoping and those kind of tasks that I don't want to do. Like,
isn't it fun?
To free me up to do my art. That's what I want.
Well, I love that. Yeah, that AI is swooping in to do a lot of the stuff that we really thought like hardware would solve. Like we're gonna add depth sensors to the front of all of our cameras and measure this stuff, and like stereo cameras are going to become a real thing, and almost all of that is solved by AI generated depth maps. Because
like depths, I want roto, paint out, tracking. That's all the stuff that I want AI right now to take care of for me. Although, and mocap, I'll throw mocap in there as well, especially right now.
Yes, I feel like there are very many promises of film this and then extract motion capture from it, and I'm not super satisfied with any of them.
No, they're really exciting. Like, and not to crap on, but just some options for people to explore. We have Moves by Maxon, which is actually fantastic for facial performance. We've discovered in recent episodes. The full body performance, you and I haven't got to test out very much, but I know that it does. It's not as reliable as the facial. I mean, it's good. I guess we don't want to market it as bad, but
even with point marker tracking, like in a mocap studio, you have issues with leg drift and placement, and so it's something that this type of cleanup that is difficult to do. But I do know that NVIDIA and a couple of other people are doing some really great experimentations on motion capture with AI physics integration, which is basically like, I'm probably explaining it wrong, but like the computer has been fed tons and tons of physical motion capture of like people playing basketball or doing gymnastic stunts or like landing and falling on the floor, until it learned to be able to do that on its own. And then if you feed it any series of motion capture data, the motion capture data now exists in this is probably the wrong term, but a latent space where it is reapproximating the motion capture data that you just captured and running it through its physics sim to make sure that nothing is doing what it couldn't or shouldn't be doing based on looking at a bunch of other human-assisted correction footage.
Wait, remember when I said I don't zone out on the show before we started the show? I just did. But were you talking about a specific tool when you said that, or were you talking just in general?
Oh no, I blanked out. I don't know what happened for the last 2 minutes.
No, I mean, like, were you talking about?
So these, I don't
what was
think
that one
this
you
is a tool
posted?
available yet? I believe that I could do. Let's see. I'm sure I could find it online because people like
The
when
one
I
that
do,
estimates the
searches
physics
on
of a performance. Like, you do a basic performance and it interpolates the physics of.
You mean Cascadeur?
Yeah. Yes. Is that the one?
Which is a physics-based animation where you say all pose to pose, and it does the physics to get from one pose
Yes.
to the other pose.
You told us that it was not called.
Oh,
It didn't have AI in the title.
Yeah. When I first joined the beta, way in the early years, it was just like physics-based animation, helper tool, and that then all of a sudden it's like AI-assisted animation. So I'm like, listen here.
Is this it, Hashi, or what are you?
All right. Oh, yeah. So this is the one that I'm speaking of, and it's possible that it's being used to as the underpinnings of what you're talking about, Michael. Whoops, I'll turn my quality setting down so I can have a copy of the show in the corner. But basically, what this does, and you should honestly just watch this 2-minute papers. It's lovely. They trained an AI brain to try to replicate motion capture. So you see the motion capture there. And it's trying to copy movements of it, but not capturing all of the movement, just trying to get the notion of where pieces of the body are moving. And after tons and tons of training, it starts to get better. So now this blue one is entirely existing within the physics model based on what you would normally get as an input. And so it's pretty close.
We're teaching computers how to walk. Got it.
Exactly. So teaching computers how to walk. And so this is the crazy part, is that in theory, if you had motion capture of like your monster running around doing stuff like that, and then you had other physical props in your set, they can intelligibly do what someone would do in that situation, and it's sort of like dialing between, like your animation controls on like a cloth simulation or something like that. If you needed to land in a certain way, you can use the direct capture data, but it's also using the physics data to make sure that you're not getting any like that toe penetrates in the mocap file, but it can't in the physics copy.
Interesting. This is what Michael and I were talking about. This tool, Cascadeur, is that what it's called?
Let us know in the chat
I'm
if
not
you've
sure how to pronounce
used this. This demo is really impressive.
It is really impressive. You just like pose it, and then all right, so you posed it. Great.
There's some love for Gareth Edwards in the chat, and also
then it adds this physics, like it interpolates this physics information between like the. So you do like a basic, Seth Worley style animation where it looks bad, and then it adds this like.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know how it understands the jiggle part of the zombie stuff. Like,
well, it's difficult to tell with a demo, like what I mean, that looks really straightforward. Cool. It's a good idea because now that we are in the age where computers can watch what we do and try to reproduce it. Well, like it's interesting. Like I think there's a great Adam Ruins Everything. Adam Conover has a good description of the way AI, like what AI is actually doing compared to what we think it does. Like it's not like it doesn't understand all of this and is figuring it out. It's just getting really, really good at guessing. Like that's like all AI is just really, really good at guessing based on having been able to input more input than a human can.
But are we going to do stuff on the show that isn't AI based? Like, are we going to be recreating some visual effects by hand like humans do?
Like humans
do. We are.
Well, Seth, let's scan through that trailer one more time. And our lovely friends in the chat, thank you, Moni Visual Pro, for saying, Hashi, Seth, and Michael, I love you guys. Nice to see you again. So much excited for today's episode. Crazy fans here. So Thank you. Yeah, let's scan through this trailer. And speaking of scanning, that's a cool shot right there.
That is. I kind of want to mess around with this because I did a dumb little thing back in the day. Let me.
Chris Rana says AI becomes easier to understand once you start calling it Bruce Force pattern recognition and reproduction. which like I know it's not as sexy, but that is the AI that we have going on right now.
Yes, it is.
But if we called it like,
Now, did you say brute force or Bruce Force?
It should have been Bruce Force.
It should have been. Bruce Force is actually the name of the guy who patented
Bruce
the whole
Force.
thing.
That's
So,
like after the Justice League, like when
and it's like Batman goes off on his own. He's like, but he can't take the Batman name with him because it's copyrighted to the Justice League. They own it, so he has to start his own thing. That's Bruce Force.
Bruce Force.
Not nearly as powerful as Field Force.
Not nearly as powerful as Field Force. Oh,
The very
no
silent
sound.
Field Force. No
That wasn't as powerful as the Field Force.
Field Force.
There we are. So,
much better.
I did a tutorial back in the day when around the time Prometheus came out because I did this like floating scanner thing that I thought was cool. Wah, 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 wah. So I did this, and that's out there somewhere. I believe it's a Red Giant classic.
The link
tutorial.
is in the chat.
Look at you! You put it
to
in the
watch
chat.
after this show is over. To enjoy the very loud intro.
Yes, please. I'm very proud of that loud intro. I had to make that. Well, fun fact behind the scenes: we had to move the tutorials from an old Red Giant channel to a main Red Giant channel because we had our tutorials and our films separate, and more of our followers were on the films channel. So I was tasked with moving the tutorials over to the films channel. But my concern was that a lot of them are older tutorials, and people might think, why are you posting these older tutorials? I wanted to spread them out over the course of months so that to increase the engagement and gain followers on the site. So I made this fun little intro that said, enjoy this classic tutorial. I branded them as old, and it increased our engagement and our subscribers, and it was a very successful venture, and this little intro was one of my favorite things I've made.
Engagement and subscribers, if you have yet to subscribe or engage, please like this video, please subscribe, and hit that bell.
Oh, do it! Oh, yeah!
All right. Yeah, all 34 of you watching right now
just left.
Let us know your favorite movie with artificial intelligence or your favorite shot from this trailer. Just all comment. Doesn't matter what it is.
Right now, go.
Or just give us a wave. Just say hi.
So I'm going to recreate this scanning thing, or I might recreate
young Martin Short.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I might put Martin Short in other shots of the film.
Because they've CG recreated a perfect Martin Short from his unhireable period. Like between say
when he was Bill Nye and then when he fully transformed into Martin Short. It's that Twilight period that they caught him in here.
That's so lovely.
Hashi, what about you? What you gonna do?
Well, first of all, there are some really cool explosions in this trailer because everyone knows that, like explosions are,
Lord, look at that light wrap.
So good. Look at that.
Got one flare at the top. Nope.
So great.
Still goes, and you got this flary vignette thing going.
Yeah.
And then a shockwave, and then a different
shockwave. I like that shot a lot, and I feel like I've seen variations of this throughout a couple of movies.
You have dust falling. You were talking about this before the show. I never noticed it. Dust falls ahead of the shockwave.
It's really cool because there's the shockwave and the impact wave, and so you get it's like the old, if you watch the really old, footage of the bomb tests in the 50s.
Which,
where
if you thought were fascinating, have we got the movie for you coming up? That's Oppenheimer looks like bomb test footage, the movie, and I'm very excited about it.
I'm very excited about that.
But we'll talk about Oppenheimer. We should do an Oppenheimer episode. I think
let's do an Oppenheimer episode.
We do a bunch of visual effects, and then we claim they're all practical. That'd be great.
And then our thumbnail can say this is practical, and it'll be like Like Woody from Toy Story, waving with a mushroom cloud behind him.
All practical, and it's just a clear screenshot from Toy Story 1.
Flawless. So yeah, so here we get into the
Lasers,
big vaults with creepy children in them.
Love me some creepy kid vaults.
Okay, let's see. Oh, Nick Smith coming in with Short Circuit 2, favorite AI movie. So good.
My favorite, would the show Devs be considered an AI? I can't remember if that was...
I didn't see Devs.
Oh, Devs is so moody and great. I love it. And it's got a saxophone in the score.
doves.
It makes me very happy.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about this a while back. I can't remember what... Was it for Megan or was it for something else? We talked about how... We were talking about the original, or rather, the Spielberg movie AI.
Yes.
A lot. And
the turn.
well, I just don't remember what episode this was for.
Yes, it was for Megan, because we were talking about the turn with the giggly gook stuff. Yes, it was. I remember.
Yes. So one of the coolest things ways that digital effects can enhance that explosion is really, really cool too. I kind of want to. I want to be able to do that with just After Effects. So if we have 20 minutes at the end of the episode, I want to recreate that with just After Effects plugins and no third-party things.
Do it. That's like
even though particular would be really, really helpful.
It's like it's not.
We can have a race.
It's not Sky Butthole. It's like Sky Butt Cheek.
Sky Fart.
Sky Fart. My favorite James Bond film. My favorite of the Daniel Craig Bonds.
That was another successful movie by a visual effects artist turned director, Sky Fart.
Wait, the director's name is Sky Fart?
I mean, I don't think that was his given name, but
Oh man.
Ooh, missiles. Okay, so this cool Ken Watanabe.
That's it. Thank you.
Looks he's doing a Hashi concerned face right now. That's whenever I'm not paying attention on the call and I'm zeroed in on my After Effects plugins and doing something like that, that's the face I make. Is
just pissed, angry.
So anyway, I really like. That was a really long way to say. I want to do some robot head stuff. I want to do missing parts of faces.
This sounds like a journal entry of mine from when I was a freshman in college.
Like before your parents made sure you saw a counselor.
Yeah.
I
want to do robot heads. I want to do cyborg head things.
I want to remove parts of people's heads. This is what I was imagining. So yeah. To complete a sentence that I started 4 minutes ago.
I will not let you complete it. Nope. The show will end if it happens.
Is
go for it.
That you can do cool.
Look at this explosion! Oh my god, it's so good. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That was it. You can remove Ray Fiennes' nose finally. That's really the gist of this effect is that additive effects are very cool to do practically. I love seeing amazing makeup effects. I love seeing Hellboys and Tim Curry's and people in amazing layers of...
Tim Curry is just a prosthetic.
Tim Curry in general or Jim Carrey? Which one are we talking about?
Jim Curry.
Jim Curry. Best of both worlds.
Is that like the Aviator? Is that what does the Aviator title look like?
That. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
New Baskerville or whatever it is. It's
fine. They'll change that. This is early.
100%. This is what happens when you export without checking to see if your fonts are installed on the new machine.
The first trailer or all the VFX shots we had.
Hang on. I like how they're aggressively going very anti-sci-fi with this type.
No, definitely. I like that this looks like the end of the Liar Liar trailer right here. Fully agree.
So why don't we do that? Let's scan some cities, and I don't know where I got that.
It's like that can't be 20th Century Studios.
You may like this video. Subscribe now. Accurate. You might like this video. Subscribe now.
All right, so I'm going to do beamy scans, and you're going to do RoboHead, right?
RoboHead. Yeah.
Well, we're 35 minutes into the show, so you've got an hour and 25 minutes to get us some robo scans, and you've got an hour and 25 minutes to get us some robo heads.
And I classically get things done in 2 hours of time. So I need some footage first, so I'm going to go searching for some. Hashi, what are you doing? Whose screen do we go to first?
You can cut to my screen for a second if you want, because I've let's see. Oh, I'm not sharing, am I?
Yeah. Well, you're old. Sorry, maybe you're not.
But that's what. All right. Still sharing from back there. Let us start sharing again. Here we go. So
I see a Hashi face.
Looking good, pal.
Here's my face.
Young.
So I've dropped in. This is me outside giving a review of this mall here. So I've
already did it.
The delete a person's face plug-in here, which I'll make available soon to everyone.
You made a plug-in, you animal.
No, I didn't. But I'll do a little bit more of a breakdown of what we did here. So clearly, one of the things that you need if you're going to do an effect like this, and this is not complete yet, but the idea of subtracting a part of someone's head is that, let's do the most basic version of it. You probably need to have some piece of
a person's
footage.
Head.
Yes, that's a good starting point, is footage of a person's head. And then if you want to erase a part of them, you're going to need a clean background plate. And one of my favorite tricks from like Action Movie Kid and from anything else that I like to do like this is that I like to keep the camera moving, especially in little sweeping movements like this. And I talk about it very distinctly in the with content-aware Phil himself, actually, in a tutorial called Bringing Things to Life or something like that. But this is it both looks interesting to have, new information coming in, and it also means that if I were to take this piece of footage like that, and I'm going to duplicate this, and then I could either use RotoBrush, or I could actually try, let me try this AI plugin since we're talking about AI today. Let's try Goodbye Green Screen and see if it likes running when
Goodbye Green Screen.
Goodbye Green Screen.
All
right, so
nice.
Goodbye Green Screen is like like your Instagram back or Zoom background replacement level thing, which is not bad. You can turn up some settings in it so you're analyzing it a little bit more.
Background replacement level thing.
There, not bad. That's trying to erase me. But one way that you could try to get a clean background is to do, an AI, try to recognize a character, or you could go RotoBrush this character. And honestly, I bet you could RotoBrush me from this 15-second shot.
But you're Hashi. You're never going to do the RotoBrush. You're going to do everything but that until you can.
I will do whatever is the least amount of work that is barely passable on a phone screen that you didn't bother to turn to like from portrait mode. Like that, I feel like that's like, I know how you're going to watch it. So that's fine. So if I run this Goodbye Green Screen filter, which is made by Blaze plugins, I think.
Blaze.
You can do this, and I can just go into my After Effects and say, use this as an inverted track map like that. And then, so I guess my sweater thingy isn't disappearing. I don't know why it doesn't think that's part of me. What if I uncheck use lower precision? That's cool. Let's remove, just leave my sweater. So if I could put a Velociraptor body in there.
Yes. Who would do that? Who would do that?
Who would do that? Can you imagine if that was like part of what made you feel validated in your everyday life? As if how many people liked your I made a dinosaur thing?
Honestly, while I've been working on this movie, I've been convinced. There's been a small part of me that's wondering, Is Hashi going to be mad at me that I'm not making as many raptors as I used to?
Constantly. So you can see
this frame looks really good. Like your hair is keyed gorgeously here. Keyed, matted, gorgeously here.
I want to make an Invisible Man movie where a guy makes like an Invisible Man potion, right? And then this is what it does to him. And they think this qualifies as invisible, and everyone can still see them. They're just this blank void.
They're
walking
just Phantom
around.
Black.
Yeah,
Phantom Black.
I love that this is Seth. This is like a mix between Attack the Block and what we're trying to do on your movie right now.
It 100% is.
Pointing out that Attack the Block was the very first episode of VFX and Chill.
The very first. If you're one of the fans, if any of you saw that live and are here watching now, let us know.
Let us know and make sure you're in some kind of therapy, some kind of mental care. You have people in your life, but also thank you for being in our life. And also, fun fact: we did one practice pilot of VFX and Chill that never aired. We did it.
We should do a react video to that. We'll just play it, and we'll be in we'll load up our Mystery Science Theater.
I believe we did a shot from the Mortal Kombat trailer, and you did.
Oh my god!
You did some really cool stuff. I shot a plate on the fly. It was like we knew immediately this is going to be a fun show.
We did. We
gave up.
Like we pitched and made promo material for this show like before anyone was like approving stuff, and then we're like, "Can we broadcast this week?" And they're like, "We don't know if you can do the show." Like, like, how about this? How about you do a pretend show, and we'll watch and see.
I like that story, but credit where credit's due.
Literally invented the idea of a TV show pilot.
Well, credit where credit is due. I do want to actually, I do want to say on the record that Simon Walker, at the very least, was like, "Yeah, do it." And I'm like, "Well, we should do a practice episode." And Simon was like, "Why? Just put it out there. Just do it. Just go. Start right now."
This is all true. we've had phenomenal support. Support. So Simon Walker, Paul Babb, you need executive producers in your life to say, well, what if we could?
But what if we could?
Like Rob Lowe. I love that you managed to bring in both executive producer and Rob Lowe into that setup.
You tried that dropping together so well.
Well, we're now just trying to to work our way toward drops. The content is shaped around the drop.
It really is. So I do love that the more drops we have, the more the higher percentage of our show is hunting for drops.
I also feel like on this show, none of us are on our ADD medication right now because we're all being very distracted from actually making visual effects this week.
Oh, Michael's bringing in our conversation from before the show, basically. I was like, "Seth, do I seem like I remembered to take my meds today?" And he was like, I legally can't advise you on this. And I was like, but if you had to make an educated guess, I'm going to take medication based on your recommendation.
I said, it doesn't seem like it, but there's a lot of variables that I make it to where I can't determine it. But you are being harder on yourself than usual. And
well, I've missed y'all. I was gone the last couple of weeks.
I know.
So was I.
We missed you too, guys. It was weird.
And Michael was gone. Seth was here trying to be like.
Guys, it was weird. I found out how codependent I am on the two of you. I was like, I like literally the Slack. I'd post something in the Slack and then get nothing from either of you, which is not normal. Like. Hashi could die and I'd still hear from him in the Slack, right? Like if he could die and he would still respond to things and post like Raptor videos in the Slack. That's just how he's trained us. And so I was like doing my best to like play it cool. They're out of office. It's cool. But literally like it got to a point where I told my wife, I was like, I'm really worried about the two of them. Like they're not responding to anything. Like, should I call their parents? Like...
Well, luckily, like speaking of parents, my wonderful mother-in-law, Sarah, who watches all of our shows, saw your solo show.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
How sweet of her. Like if you're watching, if you watch just me, then you're definitely watching this week. Why haven't you been on the show yet? Or have you?
She was on like this,
yes,
like one of the first shows from my New Canada house.
I think it was one of the shows on episodes I wasn't on, where I was on vacation.
I believe that she brought out this foam finger Velociraptor as a number one fan of the show. If you don't have this exclusive foam finger Velociraptor head,
Oh my gosh!
So I will say the chat has also. The chat has also commented, I wonder if the producer could encourage the guys to do more VFX and less chill. So we need to start doing something. Yeah.
This is what happens anytime we have a fan request. Or like a fan criticism.
I mean, I'm fine with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, totally. I know, it's a hover car. That was a Simpsons reference for anyone out there. Dad, why did you buy the first hover car? I know, it's a hover car.
So I'll go back to sharing here. So how about this? So we're
first,
right at the,
can I just for the record,
the show mark.
For the record, this is what I'm doing. I'm still just scrolling through. I may be stuck here until someone pulls me out of this. Because if I go through stock music or stock footage, I'm doing it for like 8 hours. It's a problem I have.
It's basically like because like as a director, you're trying to get the shot that you want with no input.
It's so true. It's 100%
with no input
true.
or reactions from the thing. At some point, this will all be AI driven. You can say like, "Hey, Gen 2 or whatever thing exists."
At what point do we script a whole episode with ChatGPT and then do it without telling anyone we're doing it?
Well, guess what, folks?
What a twist. That'd be incredible. If
they were like, I thought they seemed a little more distractible than usual. But, okay. 240 or whatever, 45 minutes into the show. Let's
do some visual effects.
Let's do some visual effects.
Cut to an hour from now. All right, we're really starting now.
All right, really starting now.
Did you take your meds?
I want to do. I did take them.
Good.
I can tell that I'm getting into excitable phase. So we're gonna be in the lightning round of Hashi brain here. So if you wanted to create one of these crazy negative fill kind of effects with CG enhancement on a face,
negative fill. Sorry.
So we're doing the opposite of filling it up, which is kind of actually no, we are going to fill it up. So goodbye green screen. It looks like the sweater is still there, but if you look over here in this little info panel, which I can't really zoom in on, the alpha does dip for the body here, and so you can even see in my content-aware fill preview here, what it wants to replace is anything that doesn't have a full alpha anymore, and you could even enhance that by dialing up the amount of alpha expansion here. And then if you were to run content-aware fill on a shot like this, because I'm moving my camera around a lot, you could get a cool result like this.
I'm not looking at it. Stock footage is all I know.
I mean, there's some messy bits in there, but considering you're going to be covering most.
That's going to work.
Yourself again. The bit that you're going to see through the robot part, I think that's going to work. I think
so too.
100%.
Because look at this. I can put that background, like literally in the background, and then I can put my foreground layer here, and then I could do something like, I know. I'll draw a mask here, and I'll say subtract, and then I'm going to go to my face tracker. You can either open the tracker panel down here, or you can click on your mask and say track mask, and then it'll open this panel up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have it track just my face. It's going to get lost here when it goes to the side. But since it's a subtract mask, check this out. Now I have a see-through head.
Nice.
See-through head. So obviously, if you are able to recreate a background behind your character, you could take your footage layer and add subtract masks, and now I could have like like this. Like here's a little like hole through my head, and I guess I could, painstakingly like track this onto the side of my head, so this looks like I've got a hole in my head. And I feel like this is a good staple of like when you were forced to do VFX for your friends, like zombie short. Like I feel like if you're a VFX artist, you found yourself in the position of needing to do VFX for your friend's zombie short.
I was the friend.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And Harry Frank was you.
So check this out. So this is a lot of the shot of what's going on here, which is kind of cool. So imagine some shape like this that is revealing the background here. And if you had, something more distinct, like the Ken Watanabe has a cool, like, it basically removes his whole ear and then it like goes down his jawline. And then one of the cool things I like is that the neck is missing too. So it's like you're missing the neck and the...
Some would say the bridge to the head.
Some would say the neck. T.S. Eliot, I believe, said that.
He did.
So let me see.
When he wrote Winnie the Pooh.
I do happen to have my hoodie here, which I also did using RotoBrush. And I think all I needed to do is like RotoBrush this one frame and then pressed freeze, hoping that it would do its thing.
Freeze.
And it did. It did not disappoint. And I didn't need it to be perfect. I just needed it to be basically the clothing. So if I wanted to add if I wanted to add a subtract mask, I could do it like this. Anyway, you get it. But now the next part that would be more tricky on something like this is if you see that cool shot from the Creator trailer, where is it? They're obviously moving around and doing stuff, and you need to see really distinct... where was that? Where are we? Where are you, Ken?
Where are you, Ken
There we go.
Watanabe?
Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful head tracking. It means that you need a great 3D track of your head so you can add in these robotic pieces. So to add in, the way I made these robotic pieces is I did the equivalent of, kit bashing with a bunch of weird little pieces that I found from other models, which I should have probably written down. I sometimes I do sometimes go through a bunch of models until I figure out which ones will work out, and then forget by the time I'm on the show. So don't let me do that, because I want the cool artists to see their work being used here. So one of them was, I think I just looked up canister or something like that. Let's see. Here, we'll do it live. You can see what my experience was like. I think I typed canister and downloadable.
Right.
And then found something like okay, no, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. It was this one. Sci-Fi Canister by C. Mitch 1.
C. Mitch 1. C. Mitch 1.
So I looked for something that had like the same kind of like vibe as I think this is it. This is what I used. I monkeyed with it a little bit, but here's the main like tube running through the back of my head here. And where did that go? Mech head. So so this is the main tube running through right there. I booled a little circle out of it and added a little like cylinder in the middle. So there's that, because this is the coolest moment in the trailer, is when you realize they turn to the side and you're like, oh, you can see right through their head. And then I think that this came from a very straightforwardly labeled thing, which was, I think I looked up cyborg head. Oh, but I probably spelled it wrong.
Probably.
And then I think I found what is it? It's someone's name. Oh, I should check. Oh, I did check downloadable. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's right here. I know it. Isn't it fun to recreate this process? Because this is what it feels like when you're doing it. Oh, maybe it was Robot Head. I don't know. Jason Robot Head by Yogo. So not by Jason. So this is just So this has some really
hang
cool
on,
products.
we can't see the creator's name because our heads are in the way. There we go. Thank you.
Jason Robot Head by Yogo. So look at, like, I feel like this one actually is, I mean, is very similar to the reveal in the Creator, where you can get the cool effect like that. But I think that I just wanted this stuff and these little manifolds and hoses and stuff like that bashed together until they looked like this.
Like this.
So the next step is you need to track your head. And Seth, I believe that on your solo episode, you were playing around with doing some of the tracking in Cinema 4D, which sounds really cool. You're doing some tracking in Cinema 4D, right?
I was, and you know what? It was funny because I thought I'm going to get the camera track, but I'm not going to get the object track. And literally in the final seconds of the episode, I got it to work.
All right. So here's the build. Here's the everything is kind of
nice
pieces mushed together. But then I did forget to talk about one component, which I'm actually kind of proud of. That is this Hashi 2.0 scan that I just quickly, after filming this, I actually made a different version of the shot before I was outside for the day. And wherever I was there, I grabbed out Polycam, which we've used on the show before. And unfortunately, you can't use the selfie camera. You've got to use the forward-facing camera. So I did my very best to hold my camera out like this and to sweep my arm around my head right in the spot that I was there. And that gave me this nice Hashi scan. Let me open up see if I can find an older version of this to see when I had the whole head all together. So here's the scan of me, and it didn't need to be perfect because I'm not really using the face here, but what I really wanted to do was be able to have a great copy of the side of my face that I could cut away to represent what it looks like whenever I want to subtract this shape from it. So I built this really simple cylinder and then stretched it apart into some kind of weirder shapes like this, and then booled them. I don't know why it's not rendering my bool here. Bool!
Why is that funny to me?
I do not know. Okay, so let's see. What steps do we have here? So we have Hashi head getting... why aren't you booling anymore? Oh, there we go. Probably was and got confused. So I can... let me hide my mech stuff so you can imagine the more simple version of this, which is... I took this really simple kind of question mark shape and used it to bool right through my head. Ooh. And then once I did that, it leaves me with this cool result. But I actually didn't want this surface here. I wanted really a hollow head shape. And so what I did next was I deleted that plane, and then let me go to solo mode here. Deleted that plane, and so then I just had the shell of a Hashi right here, and used our cool thicken generator, where you can grab this and give it a little bit of depth. So a little bit hard to see here with the lighting, but it gave it a little bit of a lip here. I guess I could do reveal my wireframe here. Now you can see the thicken generator is right in... Wait, no, where is it? Wait, Michael, where's our thicken generator?
It's in there. It's in the. It's a generator. No, not a. It's a go up. It's in there.
Why am I not? Why is my brain not seeing it?
Hang on, I'll find where it's at.
Thicken. You can always just press Shift C and say thicken.
If you had a custom layout before, some of the new things that are added to layouts won't come through because it respects your custom layout. So it's like, you had a custom layout. I'm not gonna fuss with your layouts.
See, we are considerate. The upgrade that cares. So you can always press Shift-C, and if you're a fan of using video copilots, what the hell do they call that? FX console.
Incredible name. Video copilots, what the hell do they call that?
It's like a mix between an elephant and a rhinoceros, right? So,
Hellophonoceros.
oh. I'm Charlie Brown, and you're Lucy. Every time I set you up. Let me see. So yeah, the thickened generator. It should be probably right here. But I saved. I have Hashi 4D as my layout that I like, which I don't even really like. It's just all of the tools that I've needed. I started like pinning to the sides, and then at some point I saved it, and it drives everyone crazy because like look at this toolbar.
But yes, the thickened generator
Really optimized.
should be in the menu underneath the subdivision surface. That is where it lives. But in Hashi's custom UI, it does not.
Yeah. So for example, if you were in the the modeling layout probably and had a sphere and said let's generate a hemisphere, and then it looks like this, a hemisphere. Because if I say hemisphere, then you think of the quadrant of the Earth. But if I say hemi, I don't know. I've lost it now.
Does it have a hemi in it? Is my question. And the answer is yes.
So check it out. So these are obviously, thin and boring. But if you add the thicken generator, this is right here, thicken, and drop it into there. Now look. Something stupid that I didn't know how to do or like easily for the longest time, and it was always like booling and subtracting shapes and making things solid just to do this. Or I was stretching out. I think the old way I used to do this was I would like turn this into geometry, and then I would go to the plane mode and then select everything, and then whoops, what would I do? I would extrude. Yeah,
but that fusses with UVs and crap. Now, there was an old way to do it using the cloth. Under the simulation, there's a cloth generator object that you would use on cloth that would subdivide stuff so you to get better looking cloth, but it would also has the option to add thickness. But especially on models that had certain kinds of geometry flow, it just failed miserably. So this new thickened generator is so much better.
It is.
It's got a lot more options to it for adding thickness, which is really really needed. And I know a lot of 3D artists were like, "Oh my gosh, this solves all of my problems." But not all, they still are unloved, but their art was better.
And there was also the old school way of this reminds me of using shatter in After Effects to do 3D text, but you could add the explosion effect to something, and then in the explosion effects you could choose the thickness of your exploded pieces, and that would basically do the same thing, and then you could export it. But it is not as nice as the edges and the looping you can get from the thicken generator, which respects your stuff. This is trying to, the idea is this is so it can do this. So it literally is the shatter effect from After Effects, but left at time 0, it looks like a 3D version of your thin bowl. But anyway, I did that to my face shape here. And then what was fun about that is that once I bring it in here, let me show you what my actual full robot mech head looks like with no matting on it. Here we are. It's cute.
Oh,
it's
those dead eyes.
Dead eyes. He's dead. Had Dawes eyes. But this is now tracked to my head, and so if I use basically a blurred out version of this outer surface as the alpha matte, I can get a really nice blend right here where I have. Let me turn this back on. So look at this. That's a very like feathery edge by using that skin layer and then blurring it out and then using it as a depth matte for itself, sort of. It sort of works. It still requires a little bit of extra masking and stuff, and you can see that like I'm missing some stuff there. But am I making sense what I'm saying? I've been talking for like 20 minutes now.
It makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me. I'm about to have something to be able to show.
Ooh, sweet. So yeah, to summarize steps, get a.
I mean, Hashi, a lot of what you're saying is going in one ear and out the other, according to Harry Frank.
Oh, that's so good.
Get it?
Harry,
because,
come back to me.
Because your robot's got a hole
Come
through
back to me.
Are you saying Boole or Boolearns? Oh my God, Harry.
Hey man, I knew there was something there for us.
Harry is both making and getting our jokes today, even jokes I've made that YouTube. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Jason Murphy's want to know how you did that track on your head, Hashi. He's missed that little step of yours.
Well, that's because I skipped that step of mine.
Yeah.
So here's how I did the track of my head. Where? Can I just show?
You didn't use Cinema 4D's Object Tracker? Did you use GeoTracker, right?
I used GeoTracker, baby. So GeoTracker, Seth and I have been using on a handful of projects. Let me see. Was it this layer? I don't remember which one actually has it. Unfortunately, I know. I nudged it accidentally. Just come back, GeoTracker.
Can't do that.
Do. Okay, let me show you a rundown of what GeoTracker does again. But I clearly have lost my actual track for it. So let me grab a small portion of this. Let's grab from here through here. Just because I just don't want this to take a very long time. The way GeoTracker works is you take your footage layer here, you apply GeoTracker, and then it's going to start analyzing your footage in the background here. GeoTracker came out of the gate like a year ago now, probably, with one of the coolest AE scripts or whatever promos for cool effects. Why do I hear music? Is that on a show or is that in my house?
That's you.
My goodness, it's like a gentle
It's not me.
like a medieval bard playing like. Oh, it's probably James playing.
Buddy, you doing okay?
That new Legends of either that or I'm.
Oh, he's playing Legends of Zelda: Tears in Rain. God, I want to play it so
Tears
badly.
in Rain. That's it. Dark Side of the Moon. Magic of the something. Breath of the who's a what's it.
Yeah.
Call of the
Ocarina
Wizard
of Breath.
The Wizards of the Coast.
If you want to hear medieval music and you're in the Nashville area, weekends in May are the Renaissance Festival, Seth.
Oh, I forgot about that. I went to that as a kid once and was like, this is where the cool people go. I love this.
Oh my gosh, I love the Renaissance Festival. I love it so much. My kids dressed up as a dragon in a knight last year, and they were adorable.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was great. I hope to go this year sometime if we ever get back into Tennessee, to Kentucky area. Currently, I'm in Alabama.
First of all, Renaissance fairs are awesome because it is fun to visit any group of nerds doing at their peak nerdness, which is great. So if you need cool footage to play with, if you're an amateur filmmaker, go to a Ren fair and you'll have
idiot,
a ginormous cast of willing dressed people in character that can do awesome stuff. Do that.
Do it.
People, do it right now. So I'll show you how GeoTracker works. We've done it on the show before, but GeoTracker analyzes this footage, which I think I'm assuming it just grabs a motion vector pass of this footage, probably, right?
Maybe.
That's what its analysis is. That's what I'm assuming. And then I'm going to go to geometry. I'm going to add a primitive. And luckily, under primitive, one of them is a head. And to make this, I actually always do this when I'm using it. I make it more opaque, the little wireframe preview, and I make it super yellow. So
nice.
GeoTracker is a little bit bizarre in that you don't have to have rotation controls and things like that. You have pin controls. So what I do is I grabbed the eyes, for example, and you'll see that once I've clicked there, it's created this little pin. I don't know if you actually can see it. I'll make it much bigger. Can you see it now? There we go. So you add these pins by clicking on the mesh, and if you click and drag on said pins, it'll move them to a place like this. And then so I could say, want another pin here on the other side of the eye, and I'm going to drag it here to where the other eye is. And you can see it's tried to start aligning the head. But then you can do stuff like, well, I know that there's an ear over here, point like that, and I'm going to drag that there. And now this head is reasonably lined up, which is kind of cool. The fewer pins you do, the less weird situations you'll get into, but the more control you have. So it's a weird trade-off. So I may, for example, want one on the middle of my chin and the tip of my nose so I can really distinctly align the tracker. And I've just grabbed a random frame in the middle, and GeoTracker has a toolbar that opens up separately like this for its little tracker menu. And now I can say track forward from this point. And you'll see that it did an admirable job at first, but then it kind of loses the thread around here. So I can just take this one and start dragging little bits. And this, my goodness, I am shocked that this is not a Vranos joint based on the UI being.
Yeah, it's a very Vranos tool.
So fast and reactive.
Speaking of, I think Vranos is the source for the Zelda music, by the way. He says he's playing it, and I think he's ruining. Get out of the chat, Vranos. Your music's leaking into the show.
You're always saying that.
And New Wed Black says that as the villagers are revolting in, they want no VFX in their town.
Oh man, we need to. I would like for us to do more series of tutorials that had like 80s movie, general themes throughout them as a pinning structure for them all.
Absolutely.
Like our Noseman Teaches Us Cinema 4D series that might have existed, but then what ended up happening is we just started doing one-on-one calls with Noseman, who taught us everything we know about.
And then watching 4D. Jonas tutorials. Whenever we're about to die and kill ourselves, and then Jonas is like, "Well, here's a simple way to do it on this old tutorial you could have looked up." And
like, I'm trying to like retarget this character thing. Like, have you tried the character retargeter? We're like,
yeah, exactly.
That unfortunately, a lot of the conversations go like that.
Oh, hey, real quick, here's a thing. So
I want to see a thing.
It's not perfect at all, but it's kind of a fun little rig that I built for this.
What? Look at that business.
So
that's successful.
Wait a second.
If only it were glowing in blue, like every sci-fi.
No, totally. Well, I'm saving that for SuperComp, but I wanted to kind of walk through the rig and show how I built it before I did SuperComp on it.
Did you use AI for this?
I used a me.
Machine learning.
I used one me.
They're all the same word. They all mean the same thing.
Which is Acrobat's Intelligent. I am going to Adobe Acrobat Intelligence.
Or Adobe Illustrator.
Adobe Illustrator Intelligent.
What's that like, right?
Nailed it. So
I feel so bad for the Adobe Illustrator. Whoever runs Adobe's social account for Adobe Illustrator, because all this AI talk has just ruined all of their listening tools.
I love that.
Sorry about your hashtag.
My wife's leaving. Are you leaving me? Oh, okay. Bye. One of my kids is sick. It got not funny. So, wait, I interrupted something you were doing, Hash. Do you want to finish what you were doing, and then I can?
I was making stupid puns about AI. All I was going to say is that after you've created your keyframes for the more aligned pieces, you then click this Refine All button, which sort of takes the tracking data, takes the pins that you've grabbed, and tries to smooth out the track of your head. And you see it's done a pretty okay job here. There are some weird spots like this.
I found that its smoothing is basically like it waits till the very last possible second and then shifts itself like across one or two keyframes in a way that isn't great.
Yeah, because I wanted this to be a very turn the head all the way around and reveal shot, it's a little bit confusing. But from this point, it means that you could add in from GeoTracker, you could say export. You could actually export this file to Cinema 4D if you wanted.
What?
Or you could just say
Wait. You can?
you can export to file right here.
God.
Yeah.
I've been doing this such a backwards way.
Export
I don't even need to
file.
anymore because I know how to do it in Cinema now, but still, can't believe it. God in heaven.
Export to file. So you can also just say like export a 3D null. Oops, that's my surface point one. I want a 3D null that is at the same location as the. Oops. Oh, what did I do?
Okay. It may have done it, but what are your time codes on your comp?
Oh yeah, my time. I messed up my time codes.
It will send it back to 0.
Sends it back in time. We have time travel, and so I can just press U, and that'll reveal where my keyframes are on this null. I can drag it back until I can actually see my keyframes again.
So if you track
darn me for not pre-comping this.
If you track a source like a layer that basically, I would recommend pre-comping your plate first, because if you track a layer that has edits on it, it won't read that time code. It'll just put it at wherever this frame 0 of
Oh wait, they're too far forward. I wasn't even looking at the data that I have. I literally have arrows telling me like which direction the keyframes are.
That's right. It'll put it on. It'll make a layer, but it'll put it on the time code of that layer, not the comp. So it'll be later. That makes sense.
There they are.
Now you gotta know.
The keyframe train has arrived. Then I can just use my keyboard shortcuts, Alt and bracket to put my little null in. And another way that that is actually that can be very helpful for something like this is instead of GeoTracker, say you don't want to buy a plugin, is you could do what I was doing.
I don't want to buy a plugin.
And just say, let's put a little mask around my face right here. And you could either use the mask tracking, the face tracking detail thing, or just, do the really complicated work of that. A couple of keyframes on this face right here, and then let's pre-comp this and move all of the attributes to a new composition. That way I've got just this little beautiful face right here. And then I'm going to go to the camera tracker. Let's try this. Let's try tracking with a track camera. Analyzing the background. This isn't very many frames.
Why would you choose GeoTracker over, say, Moves by Maxon for something like this?
That's a good question. I think that Moves by Maxon would benefit from an interface where you could feed a file to it instead of having to film. Like I could actually film my screen of me performing this, and I would actually get the proper result, which is kind of cool. So there are so many ways to track ahead these days. So I do kind of dig that. But like I've used the reason I've done it, Michael, is because I'm wildly inconsistent. Sometimes I will use the After Effects camera tracker like this. So here we go. Here's the After Effects camera tracker. And I could probably say, let's create a point that is like, generally the ridge of, or whatever. I'm trying to get the forehead shape in here. I just want some kind of solid that works in here. Great. Okay. So now I've tracked my head, which is pretty successful. It's really great. What I should have done is I should have done a copy of this thing before I moved it out. But say you did it like this, you could do this, get rid of your mask. Now you have a beautifully 3D tracked thing like this, and now you get it. Like I could use this hole as the way to punch out my footage. So let's make that an inverted thingamabob, and let's bring in our clean plate background. And now we can create a cool shot from the quick and the dead. Oh, whoops, I forgot that my background isn't trimmed to this length of time. Oh, what have I done? What happened, Michael? What did I do?
Oh no, what did you do?
My video drivers aren't updating. What the heck?
You have caps lock on by accident, do you?
Probably. Anyway, you get it. Now you could have a solid that's tracked to your head. You could add like a particular system that's spraying out of the head.
Ooh.
Anyway, Seth, you were teasing some really cool stuff there, and I've been talking for way too long for my comfort level.
Hashi, you've never talked way too long in your life.
Thank you. That you should end. If you ever have a gathering of friends, you should say that to all of them on their way out. You talked the perfect amount.
Oh, that's a quick way to get me very stressed out on the way home. So. All right, this little number I did. So let's find the footage, and I'll show you what I did here. It's this shot here from Art Grid. So I need a couple different layers. First off, I need just a base layer that's going to be the plate, the background that will remain untouched. Then I need a second duplicate of the plate that I will call the wall. Then I need a third duplicate of the plate that is going to be the edge. And let's just start with that. So first off, let's start with the wall. So I'm going to apply, what's it called? Depth scanner.
Look at that responsiveness.
And it immediately created a depth map. So I'm not going to touch anything here except I'm going to create a null object real quick, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm going to call this my controller, and I'm going to apply a slider control to it. And so I'm going to make it to where I can have this slider control visible because I'm going to be parenting some stuff to this slider and doing some expressions. So what I'll start with is what happened?
Jared Johnson in the chat was asking Michael, where in Alabama? I'm in Birmingham, and so I was chuckling earlier at the idea of Michael saying, like, Michael being right behind you, Jared. But then I started laughing because someone said, like, hey, they're like, I didn't know they could play interstitials and stuff like that on a streaming show. And we love your interstitials, Seth. And so when you said unparented, this layer, it's very difficult to explain, like an ADD thought that happens in like a split second.
Oh, 100%. But what happened? What was it?
What happened was that we need a drop for unparented. It's just
Is it just a clip from The Parent Trap played in reverse?
No.
I think it's
a clip from Bruce Wayne. It's a clip of it's Bruce Force. It's Bruce Wayne in the alleyway, like pulling back with his parents' bodies at his feet, and he's crying.
Oh, God.
That also works for trap code particulars flocking where you spawn particles from parent particle death.
100%. Emit from parent death is just one of the greatest.
It's where most anti-heroes come from.
True, most heroes emit upon parent death. Okay.
Sorry, to answer the question, I'm near Dauphin Island, which is not Dolphin Island. Said weird. It's Dauphin, Dauphin Island. I'm near there.
It's behind you. It's because those in Georgia know how to spell dolphin.
Where are the rest of you watching from in the chat, folks? I'm Alabama. Where are you all at?
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. So I'm going to.
So you've created a controller that you linked to the.
A controller. So I'm in mapping on depth scanner down here on this wall layer. We're still on the wall layer. This raw depth multiplier, I can move this thing about. And it obviously like moves around. Now check this out. Here's what's really fun. Is if I keep it a raw, but I go instead of a depth map, show me slicing under the mode.
Ooh, slicing.
And so right now it doesn't look like much, but if I set the minimum to 49 and the maximum to 51, and then I start moving this depth multiplier. Oh, well, first off, let me turn off the background plate, and now you'll see what it's doing.
That is always how I demo.
I know.
A depth reveal kind of thing. I always have it over the original plate, and it's always unimpressive, and I'm like, why isn't it doing anything?
Yep. So now it's creating a slice that is between 49% and 51% of the depth multiplier.
What?
So it's creating this really cool scan up and down like this. So that's cool, right? That's one element that we need of the scan.
That's cool. And say you just had, if you don't have depth scanner and you just sent the frame to Photoshop, ran the neural filter to get a depth map out of it, or used one of the online web tools to grab a free depth map, you could do this same effect by basically taking your gradient and using the extract tool and just sliding what slice you're extracting out of it.
Exactly. I'm not going to show it off because that'll take me down a rabbit hole of failure.
No, but lovely that they built it into this plugin because that's an obvious thing that you might be doing.
Absolutely. So I'm also, real quick, just so I can see it if I happen to turn the background back on, I'm going to apply a fill layer and I'm going to set it, let's keep it at red for now just for reference, right? So I've got this red layer that goes back and forth with the depth multiplier slider.
Washing with blood.
So now, the thing is, this look has like the big blue like wall that's traveling with it. So this is supposed to be the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the depth scanner effect. Why don't I copy it and the fill layer, the fill effect. I'm going to copy them both and paste them on the edge here. I'm going to change the wall to purple for now, just for reference. And I'm going to turn the maximum up to 100. So now, as I move the depth multiplier on the wall, it will move the whole wall like backwards and forwards. And obviously I want that to go with the edge here. So I can just go into the edge. I'm going to choose to parent the edge to the wall. I'm going to alt-click the depth. I don't have to alt-click anymore. I keep forgetting the pick whips are right here. I'm just going to take this pick whip from the depth multiplier on the edge and parent it to the depth multiplier on the wall. And now as I move the wall up and down, the edge and the wall travel together. Now, here's where I come into an issue is that I need... This wall seems to be infinite, and I need it to have like edges on the left and right. So here's the solution that I came up with for that. I'm going to create a solid, and I'm going to call it the wall mat. I have that. I'm going to move that up here, and I'm going to apply a transform effect to it. I'm going to uncheck uniform scale.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go down here into the scale width. And let's start it off at like 30. And so now that it's here at 30, if I go to my edge, I'll apply a set mat and set it to the wall mat effects and masks.
I love that this also could look like a horrible website. Like, that's your text box in the middle with some like white serif.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
And it's like things to do in
GeoCities.
Seattle.
Yes, this is the Seattle GeoCities
Posted
site.
on GeoCities.
You
gotta complete this set of presets plugin, wrap it up, and call it GeoCities.
We absolutely do. I think that the way we do this is we find where did I have it plugged? I thought I had it installed. I don't have Pixdither installed currently. That's a bummer.
Oh man.
It's
the other
okay.
thing I was noticing is that you could use the solid from your mat there and make it like a fast box blur adjustment layer mat, and you could have like this cool like thick like jello like little bit
100%.
over the.
So stand by. We're gonna have some fun. That's a great idea. I was actually gonna do that in SuperComp, but I think that's a fun idea. What you just said. So. Wall mats. Okay, so now I'm set the edge. I've got a set mat on it for the wall mat with effects and masks turned on. I'm going to copy that and paste it on the wall. So now, and if I turn the wall off, you'll see now it looks that wall.
Hey, look at
travels.
that.
The thing is, the wall needs to get wider. So here's my solution for that.
Keyframes. Keyframes.
Well, keyframes, but the thing is, I want to be able to, like, I like having a slider that I can adjust and change later and have one set of keyframes that I can change later. So here's my trick when it comes to stuff like this. I'll use value at time to help me out. So right now, I've already got the depth multiplier of the edge parented to the wall. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to close I'm going to collapse the edge right now so that I don't have to worry about accidentally doing anything there. So I'm going to, on frame 0, or on frame, let's see, it's 73. Oh, I didn't know that. Let's let's make sure that our frame starts at 0.
That's
And
one of the worst things about bringing in stock footage, where like the time code of the clip from which the stock was pulled is baked into it. So you get this new composition, and it's like starting at 2 hours and 46 minutes in. You're like, that's not okay.
You're like, what the heck?
And like at 25 frames per second, probably.
100%. So depth
which only triggers you if you're not from the UK, probably, right?
Yes, because they're all pals over there.
All pals over in Europe in general. I
there.
mean, pre-Brexit, they were all pals.
100%.
They're still all pals, but.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, starting with the wall mat, let's start down here on the wall. So I'm going to, on the depth multiplier.
Hang on, Seth, can you scooch our faces over a little bit to the less used part of the UI? People are having lots of difficulty seeing things. Thank you.
This is why people have holes in their head in the future, so they more visibility.
So I'm going to go to 1,000, which is the furthest I can go on this map. So I'm going to, on frame 0, I'm going to put a keyframe there on the depth multiplier of the wall. And then I'm going to go to frame 100 and set it to 0. And then I'm going to alt-click so I can do some expressions here. I'm going to say value at time. And in the parentheses, a little confusing, I'm going to say time to frames. In parentheses. And in that parentheses, I'm going to pick whip the slider up there. And
time
now,
to frames. That's beautiful. I didn't know about that one. I always used divided by the frame rate that I know.
Oh, it weirdly actually isn't working the way that it was working before. So if I go to slider 100, but if I go anywhere in between, oh, that's weird. It shouldn't be doing that. Hang on, value at time. Oh, frames to time. That's what, wait.
Frames.
Yeah, it should be frames to time because it's bringing in frames. My bad. So now, as I slide this slider from 0 to 100, it goes from the furthest to the closest. And I'll explain, and I'm going to show you why I did that, because now on the wall mat, first frame I can do scale width at 30, and on frame 100, I'll do scale width 100. And then I'll just copy this value at time expression that I did and paste it in that expression into there. So now, as it gets closer to us, the width of that solid expands as it gets closer. So I can just control this one slider, and it will slide it will slide across this animation that I've created into where I want it to be. Now, let's make this look a little more like we want it to look, right? So in this fill layer on the wall, I think I will turn it off. And it went, oh yeah, that's right. I actually need it on. I need it to be at least like a white color. What I might actually do is apply fractal noise to it.
Ooh.
And you know what's fun about this is I can alt-click the evolution here. Oh, actually, I can not alt-click it yet. I can just keyframe, set on 0 the evolution to be 0, and on frame 100, set it to be like 10 whole cycles, and then copy this value at time and paste it. So now, as it moves, it evolves. That's maybe a little too much. So I'll go to
that's delightful.
And do like 5.
You're
so
like
now it'll
Dennis
evolve as it
Hopper.
moves. Let's turn up the scale of this and contrast down maybe a bit and set it to screen and edge. Let's turn that to white and maybe even set the maximum to 50 so it's just like even thinner. And so that is basically as far as I got when I showed you stuff. So now I want to kind of bring the stuff into Super Comp and mess around with the glows and the blends and stuff that it's doing.
Bring it home.
So why don't I do it?
Bring it home.
Effects, RGVFX, Super Comp. So Let's start by saying the edge should also be an additive layer.
I keep on thinking that you were talking about Pink Floyd and U2 during this.
Oh, 100%. The edge on the wall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to apply well, you know what? I could have this be additive or... So the question
that's a good
is...
point. Yeah. Do people remember that a few weeks ago we added adjustment layers to Super Comp?
Oh, I forget.
Cool.
Is this... Do I have the current version? Oh, I don't. I need to update.
I even recorded a little tutorial about it that I just need to record myself saying, "Hi, this is a tutorial," and then it plays. But I haven't been willing to do that.
I totally forgot that, and I haven't updated it. I need to update it. But for now, basically I have a decision about whether I want to keep it an additive layer and apply a heat blur behind it, which actually works. That kind of does...
Oh, see, there's my Jello effect.
So never mind. That's exactly what I want to do. Okay, then the
laser Jello.
Optical glow, too much. Let's set the highlights only to like 75 maybe, or let's set it to like 50. But let's set the highlights roll off. No, that's not it. Let's set our amount to 5 or maybe even 1 and the size to like 500 maybe. Now we're not seeing anything.
Ooh, cool.
But I can colorize this dude.
You know what I think you need is pixel motion blur on that layer.
Oh yeah, smart. Well, I can't add it now because it'll cancel out all effects. Pixel motion blur cancels out every effect that happens prior to it.
How about force motion blur?
I think it does the same thing. Maybe it doesn't. Let me see. So you see force motion blur. It does not do that. Okay.
I mean, that, or you could add it actually might even look cool to add a radial fast blur that's at the vanishing point.
Radial fast blur. Oh.
And it set its origin at the...
Already that's cooler.
So do that on the...
So its origin where?
On the... just at the vanishing point.
Down here?
No. Like the whole scene's vanishing point, like the horizon and the sky.
Oh, I see. Vanishing.
And then copy that same fast blur to your edge effect.
Oh, I applied that to wall matte. Whoops. All right.
There you go. See, look at that.
Oh,
now turn
nice.
it down a little bit, but you'll get a like Northern Lights sweeping through it there.
That's very cool.
Jared Johnson from the chat is asking, what do you do with the flag on top of the Space Needle? Since the wall is farther back in terms of perspective, do you just do a simple mask?
Yeah,
you just
for that,
deal with it, Jared.
You'd have to get in and roto it, or just paint the friggin' thing out.
It's funny because I've grabbed the same stock from our same shared stock site, and I have rotoed that
stupid flag
Space Needle, but I didn't want to. I don't know where I can find it quickly, so I didn't want to bring it up. Oh, actually, no. Mine was a moving camera. The camera was moving more.
Oh, okay. Well, the camera is moving here, but...
Oh, no, yeah. It is this shot then.
So let's see. Back to Super Comp. This is like cranked to 11, and I'm not crazy about it. So I think what I might do is in the wall, just do some levels stuff to bring it
And you
down.
can turn down that radial fast blur amount that I told you about.
Yeah, I might.
Don't mean to make it like crazy. I just was trying to.
You made it
on
cool,
the edge
buddy.
specifically.
You made it cool, buddy. You made it really cool.
There you go. See, like now it's just some like.
If I turn it back on the wall
motion
matte,
is
it creates a nice blurry edge. So the edge itself needs obviously some colorized glow. You know, one thing you could do, or actually go ahead and do, is apply some fractal noise to the edge, and do that before the radial fast blur. So like it's like the solid edge, but if I add some fractal noise, it creates a little bit more
organic breakup.
Yeah, organic breakup, and then it can, which is every breakup I've been through is purely organic. I can also go ahead and just do color. Do I want to do color vibrance now?
That's a good question because you have some good controls over that in Super Comp, and you have some good controls out here.
That's true. I do. And, I'll try
That's
it
what I
here.
like about Super Comp is like you can work wherever you're comfortable. Like if you know you want the effect on that layer, just go add it to the layer.
Let me,
Dude, that looks awesome. That looks like it's like this like Annihilation Ghost Wall.
Annihilation Ghost Wall. Coming for you.
Oh, I remember that I think the very first tutorial I started recording for Red Giant when I was employed here was an Annihilation one, and then Film Riot.
Oh, I was about to say,
Like,
I don't remember ever seeing
put
that.
out. No, I pivoted to A Wrinkle in Time because it was similar-y.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I added a joke somewhere in the middle that I was working on that effect. And then they did it perfectly and exactly the way I was going to do it, so fine.
I was thinking about that because the background that I pulled for the promo video that we watched in the beginning was it reminded me of that Annihilation Wall. Annihilation Wall! Yeah, that's how I do it, and I just keep on.
This looks really cool, man.
You know what, man? You look really cool.
Oh, wait, go to your fractal noise to its transform settings, uncheck
yeah.
uniform scaling, and now set the width as to whatever it was, but then scale that height up.
Oh, now we're in the 1996. Scale the height to what?
Scale the height like way up.
Oh, interesting. So it's even more scanny.
Yeah, so that's
There you go.
Oh, that's
There you
smart.
go.
There. And we're back, baby.
Nice. Hey, you
Playing with the
allergies?
aspect ratio of things like noise and what else? Like in your
That's
like
cool.
lens flares and glows, like offsetting the uniform scale of them can give
you
you
know
really
what?
cool results.
Let me see. Do I have this is one of my favorites, is lens distortions. Makes these really cool.
Ooh.
I use these a ton on the darker color short. It's in the end titles. It's very cool stock lens flares.
Ooh, I love those.
Let me find.
And if you didn't have these, but you had Chromatown and like a text layer, you could recreate those too.
Hashi, you're not wrong.
I'm not. Why would I be?
Let me get the size of the comp. And it's
Ugliest font in existence.
which one?
I don't know. I don't remember what I used this font for, but it was for Maxon Computer in this promo that Michael would really like us to finish. We teased it a bit on office hours this weekend. I would like to finish it too, but
You're waiting on a logo from me.
I'm waiting on Seth, so what are you gonna do?
I'll get it done this week. What can I do to make this edge better? The edge still looks super
don't
dumb.
trust them with a major Broadway musical.
By the way, folks watching this, when this promo comes out on the Red Giant social media channels, please make sure you share it far and wide, because I want people to want us to make more of them. And if they see that lots of people like it and share it,
could we?
telling
It's
us
a personal
more of them.
favor. Yeah, like
So make sure
or
More
just
promos
follow
like
our
that, Michael,
sprints.
or just more promos in general you want from us?
I want both, but that promo is amazing. So so make sure you follow Red Giant News on Twitter and Instagram, and Red Giant Software on Facebook. And then when you see this promo for VFX and Chill come out, it's all old timey and whatnot. Make sure you share it with all of hit that share, hit that retweet, share it out, make it happen.
Hit that share, hit that retweet.
And I think on Instagram there's a little share option at the top, like 3-dot menu to share things. Anyway, reshare it is what I'm saying.
Do it.
Well,
Let's see here. While you tinker with that, I'm just gonna let me show people Chromatown real quick,
yeah.
because this is one that I don't reach for it often, but it is neat. So,
But when I do,
I wish I could describe this the way Stu Maschwitz described this before it was actually a thing. But let's see. I'm just going to write lens blob right here, and then on a top adjustment layer, I'm going to add the effect Chromatown, which is in universe. And some people might have applied this and been like, I don't know what it's doing. It looks like chromatic aberration, but it's even cooler than that. What it is basically it takes whatever layer is below it, gives it a start position and an end position, and then interpolates between the two. So, for example...
But not just position, also scale and rotation, and blur and lens distortion.
So if I said it should start at a scale of 0, you all see what's happening. It starts with a scale of 0 and has created this weird interpolation of things in between. And say I want...
Hashi, tick the box on at the very bottom, the shape overlays button, and it shows off what's happening.
Oh, yeah, here we go. So yeah, here's my original image, and it's just, spinning back into the background, just like if you were doing what's that called, like a video feedback loop, filming a monitor or something like that. So you can do something like this, and in here you can play with the colorfulness, the chromatic spectrum. So I could tint this kind of cool, like those lens blurs that you were doing earlier. And I could start playing with the amount of lens distortion at the beginning and the amount of lens distortion at the end. And then, let's see, let me move my blob somewhere more toward the center. There we go. So it overlaps itself. So now you can see what's happening is it's like a motion blurred effect of that layer spinning forward or whatever. But you could do crazy things like make the scale really big. You could say that the start position is like off camera. And you can go there, you can kind of see the letters that are going into it. But as you play with the colorfulness of this and the tints of these, and you can dial up the quality, which is basically just the hue and the, what did I say? The colorfulness and the chroma tint.
Tint, that's the word.
And quality basically is the number of iterations that it's, basically the number of these things that it's doing. And you can get some really crazy results. Like, look at this. If I just move the my text layer around this area, you can start to get crazy.
I did a bit of a Tip Tuesday post, and I talked about it in my presentation at NAB this year about how you can use Chromatown on top of Fractal Background from Universe, because like Fractal Background has like
that's a good idea.
It has some like okay stuff, but it's not like a lot of modern backgrounds that you'd want. So yeah, just for example, just apply Fractal Background real quick, and you kind of take a look at what Fractal Background looks like. It's like fine, and you go to the presets, and they're fine, but like they don't feel modern anymore. But if you add Chromatown to it, like you get that organic movement that you want. And remember, Fractal Background automatically loops. You set how long of a loop you want, and then you can get this gorgeous loop, but then you add Chromatown on top of it, and it gives this kind of like real nice, subtle, modern, like glowy, chromatic-y feel to it. Now I'll say it takes a little longer to start the preset browser nowadays because they now can Maxon can now deliver cloud-based presets. So they
reaching up into the clouds in the back.
Yeah. So on your initial launch of the Universe dashboard or preset browser, it'll take longer than you're used to, but then it'll be faster after that usually.
There we go. So now I could add Chromatown, and I could say in the end I want its scale to be really high like this, so it's basically like zooming forward, and I want it to rotate from there, and I want there to be more lens distortion at the end. Ooh, I'm basically making a Mac background thing here right now.
Yeah, I'm about to do a tutorial on making Apple-y backgrounds using a Universe line and Chromatown. Like I'm about to do it for like Make It Monday, not this week, but next probably after the sale.
So yeah, so here with since the fractal background is animated and it's playing over this, you can create this cool like Northern Lights-y effect with just a couple of things, and you could do it with footage too, which is kind of cool.
I love taking a gradient. And
so, like, if you had this video,
you found the Mortal Kombat plate.
This is when I was, whenever Seth texts me to let me know how he's doing. He acts it out in.
My God, I need that so badly.
So I can drag that down here instead. Oh, whoops! I guess I should make. Let me delete the fractal background, and I'm going to turn this solid into an adjustment layer. There we go. Now I've got Seth's footage back there chromatowning. So here's the cool part of it is like whatever you put back here, you can get really nifty results. Like what about Seth reaching forward here? Man, to have access to these folders is something we should do on the last day of this show. Whenever it happens, is just let everybody have all of our files. Oh, look at that! See, like there, I can see your face reaching through this 3D void.
Das Vitus HD
Ooh.
says, I feel like fractal background, as well as many other Universe plugins, provides you a great starting off point. Indeed, they really do. Like fractal background, I use all the time because it's got that really nice organic looping, but then I put other stuff on top of it to get the look I want.
This background right
this
here,
this
colorful background here was a combination of
Spectralicious, right?
The Spectralicious, I think, Spectralicious, whatever gave me the gradient, which must have been Spectralicious, and then Spectralicious, and then Chromatown. Oh, then Transform, rotating it, and then Chromatown applied on top of it, gave me this very, very fun result that I use in all kinds of VFX and chill related stuff.
Love it. All right, so have I vamped? I didn't mean to just. Oh, here we go. I've added a kaleidoscope effect. Now I can get some of those like lens blobs that you were doing earlier. What would I do to mimic it? I would add I guess on my adjustment layer, I'd add a vignette to it that was really strong.
Oh, hey guys, Michael asked. I don't know if you pointed this out. Like we had a complaint. John Corbett said, "I love you guys, but that looping logo at the top is making me."
Oh yeah, I was about to bring it up. Yeah, he's
okay. I can fix that for you. All right, John, is that better for you? I know it's a hover car. So yeah, Chromatown. That looks so cool, Hash. That's the coolest Chromatown thing I've ever seen.
So yeah, honestly, yeah, just like dive in, start playing with Chromatown, and really just test putting random pieces of footage that you have behind it, and you might end up with something that is really cool and magical. And like this would be annoying to try to come up with independently of this, but it looks really cool. And then you take this result, and then you say like, you take a really sad thing like spoiler alert when Hanzo dies in the Mortal Kombat movie, because apparently we were going to cover this.
Someone dies in Mortal Kombat? I'm
sorry to be the one. But if I take that Chromatown layer and just do a little, blending mode screen over top of this, now it's just like it's like a bright sunny day. It's like look at that. See, it's like beautiful.
The close up though looks like like join us for Mortal Kombat Week at the Parks and Rec Center.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well,
Mortal Kombat Week at the Parks and Rec Center makes me really happy. The idea of a local like Parks and Rec Center having fights to the death. Now spell it with a C for.
Oh
just
gosh,
for this,
I don't know if I can watch this. Oh, perfect.
That really does look like an ad, like a local rec center ad.
All right, I'm gonna work on this graphic design right here. And you
take us out.
Yeah, you finished your Skybeam.
Oh, my Skybeam is about as great as it's going to look. It's just, I
Skybeam.
I can get it looking better, but this works for now for the fun.
I want to animate the fractal noise going like up or down one direction, so you get.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yes, animate the fractal noise.
That's
like it's
smart.
Peeling up off of there.
I will. I'll do that at some point. But for now, it's 1:52, and you know what, guys? You complained that we had all chill and no VFX, and guys, I think we had a very even amount of both.
We did. Should I say
about an hour of chill and an hour of VFX? It's evenly split.
Way better than no chill.
Exactly. It's right there in the title. Okay, I'm going to save this thing as the Mortal Kombat event. And then I'll find that like months later. And like,
I want it to like come up on your like Apple TV like screensaver photos. Just comes up, and your kids are probably at a point where they don't even ask you like what something is. They're just like, oh, it's probably from Dad's work. Whatever the hell he does.
Yeah, like, my dad is all doing crazy stuff. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say hello to James' friend Nikita. If you decided to watch the show, they're very curious about what at my failing to describe what I do.
Oh, it's very funny. Stu Mashowitz was talking at the summit. His son has started to do, some video work of his own. And so he came to Stu. He's like, "Hey, Dad, can I have some money? I want to get this add-on for Premiere so I can do cool edits." It's this tool called Universe that I've heard is really...
No way.
He was so disappointed to find out that his dad was actually useful for more than just money, because his dad goes, I make that.
That's so funny. That happens to me. Like we hit a season a couple of years ago where Elliot would start talking to me about something he saw on he was like, I saw it on a YouTube video. I follow this channel called Corridor Digital. I was like, yeah, I know those guys. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, like those are friends of mine. Like I like we're in the same space. And he's like, what? No, you're thinking about different people. So I go into my journal and I pull up pictures from NAB.
FaceTime with Ren
and I'm like, no, here's Ren right here. And he's like,
ask him about dinosaurs.
He was like, what? I don't understand. Like he couldn't, and this kept repeatedly happening where he would discover that all these people he was watching on YouTube were just friends of ours. And he couldn't, it didn't make sense to him. And it made me really happy.
That's realizing wait, Tony Hale from Arrested Development? That's the same dude?
That happened this past year too. We watched Arrested Development and Elliot was like, what? He didn't say it out loud, but he's like, I didn't realize Tony was funny. Cool. And another thing that happens that's fun
with you, so
another thing that happens that's fun is, and you guys know this feeling, where we were in the movie theater and they were playing, it wasn't trailers yet, it was just commercials, not even commercials. It was the theater's spots they put on to try and recruit people or get people to buy the gift cards or whatever. And I turned to Elliot and I was like, you see that glow that's happening around the letters? That I was like, mate, that plugin was my idea. And he was like, and he didn't say it, but I thought he's probably thinking about how bad they're using it and how bad it looks. The times that I notice our plugins, things that I had a hand in, it's always being used badly.
Oh yeah,
you're just I'm just
always.
He's thinking I'm so thankful you're here right now.
Oh, what was that thing? Something happened this past year. That was, I want to say it was a Trumpy thing. And Hashi, you were pretty sure they use Electrify and Ecto. You and I are both complicit.
It was those collectible NFT quote unquote
those things.
Playing card
I forgot about
things.
those.
They were superhero versions of.
So did the world.
Yeah.
I forgot about those. And Hashi, you were like, Seth, we're complicit in this because there's Electrify and Ecto on it.
We can't police what people do with our tools.
That's true.
Yet.
We just make the tools.
We can't yet, but soon
with the AI.
The creator.
Didn't we make? Wasn't one of the promos that we? I forgot.
Before. Oh, we do need to mention the sale before we close the show again. There is a sale coming. I think it starts Tuesday. 40% off new subscriptions to Max on One and 30% off new subscriptions to any other tool. So if you're a video editing person who wants better color grading, now is a good chance to jump to Red Giant complete subscription because you get all the Magibility things that make color grading easy and fast.
Why don't I play the promo one more time before we cut to Everybody Dance Now?
And do us a favor, if you're out there and you see one of the ads that it's clear that Seth, me, or Michael made, just retweet it. And say, and you can even quote tweet it saying
Seth, Hashi, and Michael are making
stupid ad, but but that engagement is lovely, and we'll get to keep doing crazy, silly stuff that we're doing.
Say VFX and Chill made me retweet this, and hashtag VFX and Chill.
I love it.
And the reward will be more VFX and Chill. Hopefully when I click this outro button after the promo again, that Everybody Dance Now will not kick in again, which happened to me last week again while I was by myself. I think I fixed it, but
the most pathetic end screen of a solo show.
It is. A solo show is Everybody Dance Now. Oh, I love you guys so much. Everybody have a wonderful week.
You, audience. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week and probably talking about, I don't know, Little Mermaid or something.
Or some crap. Bye.